Hi there, my name is Malia Walker and I'm here to talk to you about the foster care system. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like a time in your life where you didn't have a place where you belonged? Or have you ever been so lonely and felt like there was no one you could trust? Here's an even more personal question. Have you ever known someone who housed children in the foster care system? Well, today I would like to talk to you about the foster care system. There are many different facets and things that go into what makes up the foster care system. So we're going to talk about what exactly it is, how it differs from adoption. We're going to talk about the need for more homes in the state of Louisiana. And we're going to talk about how to become a foster care home to house these children and help out the need in the state of Louisiana. So first, in this speech, we're going to start off by telling you what the foster care system really is. Many times, people confuse adoption and foster care, so we're going to take a closer look and consider what the foster care system really is and what the main goal of it is. So, when children enter the foster care system, most of the time it's because their parents are facing hardships of their own. Many times, these hardships include, but are not limited to, alcohol or drug abuse, domestic abuse, sexual assault, etc. Sometimes people perceive children who are in the foster care system as where juvenile delinquents go, but I want to make it very clear that this is not the case. Almost all of the time, it is completely out of the hands of the child who is being put in the foster care system. For the most part, the foster care system is for temporary purposes, so that the child can be reunited with his or her birth parents. This is the main goal of the foster care system, that the child be returned to their birth parent. It must be deemed as not in the best interest of the child, so that for that case to turn into an adoption case. That's the only reason that a child wouldn't be returned to their parent. You might be wondering, how does a child get to go back to the home where he or she was once abused or neglected? In many states, the parent must take some classes that are specific to the needs that they have that need to be met, and they must accept home visits from the state so that their living quarters or their house or their apartment can be deemed as livable for these children. Another common apprehension about the foster care system is the topic of finances. A lot of people have the train of thought, oh, I'm struggling to make my own ends meet. Why would I take in another mouth to feed or another person to bring to the doctor's office? But the good news is that fostering, you are given a stipend each month for each of the needs of this child. So even though it seems like you're taking in something new financially, you're really not, because you're given a monthly check that is going to meet the child's needs, such as clothing or a doctor's appointment or school supplies. So that is one plus of the foster care system, that you do not have to pay for everything for your foster child. So now that you've heard about some of these qualities about the foster care system, let me tell you about the need for more foster families in the state of Louisiana. In May of 2015, there were more than 4,300 children served by Louisiana's foster care system. And here's the discrepancy. There are only 2,000 certified foster homes available in the state of Louisiana. Let's take a moment and let that sink in. There were 4,300 children served by Louisiana's foster system, and there are only 2,000 certified homes. These are students from newborn to 18 years of age that have nowhere to go. Statewide, the number of foster care cases is on the rise. At the same time, state budget costs have decreased the number of social workers available to handle these cases. As social workers experience an increase in caseload, like we just talked about, there are 4,300 children in the state of Louisiana in the foster care system. The result is a deficit of suitable foster families in our region. Because of this deficit, social workers struggle to place these kids. So I want to speak on this quote from Crossroads New Orleans website. The number of children entering the system is on the rise, and when the state makes cuts to the budget, and that means there are less social workers being funded or available, it is harder for the social workers to find the best fit for these children because they can't spend the necessary time that they should on each child. When the case opens, the goal for this social worker is to find that child a place to go that day because there are nowhere for these children to go. So if they aren't given the ample amount of time, then these children just they are homeless pretty much. So now that you can see that there's a dire need for families to host a child in the state of Louisiana, I want to talk you through the many steps of becoming a foster family. Before we start, I want to let you know it does seem a little bit complex, but really once you start, it's not that bad. So thankfully, the state does set some stipulations as to what it takes to become a foster parent or a foster family. There are a few steps that someone must take if they are interested in becoming a host for foster children. So here are a few of the basic qualifications that it takes to become a foster parent. I'm going to list them out, but don't get bogged down. Like I said earlier, these qualifications are pretty general. This is what the state requires. You must be 21 years of age or older. You must have adequate transportation for yourself. You can be single, married, or divorced. I like this because I know that there are many single people who have the dream of being parents, and so I'm thankful that these stipulations don't cut these people out of the rule. You must have good physical and mental health. You must have adequate space for a child. You must own or rent your housing. You must have an income adequate for your own family, and you must be financially stable for your own family, not counting the foster child. You must have the ability to work with a team, agency of social workers, the child's family, or any other service providers that are appropriate for this case situation. And you must have the ability to understand and support the child's parents. This is a big deal, and we'll get to this in a second. However, the expectations for a foster parent through an agency are quite a bit more demanding. First of all, you must maintain confidentiality regarding the foster child and their family. So this is a big deal. Social media in this day and age is huge, and we're all about, in the 21st century, we're all about capturing the moment. Well, in some cases, you can't take a picture of your foster child and post that they're staying with you because it'd be pretty easy if it needed to remain confidential where the child was, it'd be pretty easy for somebody to track down the child. So it could put your foster child in danger. The next few expectations for the foster parent kind of seem just what a normal parent would be expected to do, so these aren't going to be very surprising to you. You must arrange and take the child to medical and dental appointments, register the child in school, and be sure that they are attending school because absences can become a big deal. You must participate in school meetings and events for your foster child, and you must support extracurricular activities, and I think this is huge. I know developmentally for a child, for them to be involved in things outside of just school and just their home life, for them to make friends and learn social cues, I know that this is huge for a child that is going through the foster system. And you must also take these children to purchase new clothing that is with the allotted board payment that we talked about that comes earlier. You must inform the child's worker of events occurring with the child. You must participate as a team member with agency staff, like we said earlier. Here's the biggest thing that I said we would get to. You must support the child's parents in their efforts to be a better parent and to have the child return to their care. This is such an important guideline. I want to reiterate that the goal of foster care is not to permanently remove the child from his or her parents unless that is the need. As a foster parent, it is so very important for you to speak highly of your foster child's biological parents and not alienate them or talk down on them or make them seem like they're lesser of a person than you. I have a very close friend who has had over 15 different foster children come through her home. And she said from her experience that the biggest thing that she found was that she talked positively about her foster children's parents so that whenever they were reunited, it wasn't when the child would stiff arm the parent and say, no, I want to go back to her house, or they knew that, okay, well, I was away for a little while and my parent was bettering themselves or learning ways to better take care of me, and so I'm thankful that they put in that effort, and now I get to be reunited with my parents, so that these children see it as a blessing once they return, not as, oh, I'm just back to be another burden to my parents. This really touched me because I believe it will make foster children more comfortable with their placement as well as influence a child to have positive thoughts, like we talked about earlier. So if you meet the criteria for a foster parent and you're interested in taking initiative to becoming a foster parent, you just must contact a member of your state association so that they can gather the information on you and that they can let you know how to go through the steps to become certified. The biggest thing is that you attend an orientation, a foster care orientation, and that's where they tell you where you have to complete the training. You have to be cleared through state police and FBI for your criminal records. You must have a physical examination, including the tuberculosis test for every person who's going to be in the household with that foster child. You have to have at least 5 references. 3 of those cannot be your family members. That will speak toward your ability, how you're going to properly foster this child. And also, you must complete 15 hours of annual in-service training requirements, as well as participate in home studies just like these parents do that have their biological children. So, as you can easily see, deciding to participate in foster care takes hard work, but I can promise you it will make an impact in your life as well as the child's that's never going to fade away. I believe if you got involved in the foster care system, your life will be forever impacted by the mark that these children will make on your life. So we've broken down the foster care system. We've seen the need for them in the state of Louisiana, and we've talked about the different steps to becoming a foster care system. So let me take you back to these questions we discussed at the beginning. Was there ever a time where you felt alone? Well, let me ask you this question. Would you want someone to take the next step so that your child's needs could be met while you were in a time of need? I'm going to leave you with a quote from a woman named Joyce Meyer. If you can help a child, you don't have to spend years preparing an adult. Thank you for your time.